Good morning, 8th grade. I wonder how you're doing this morning. Uh, Looks like I got a bad hair day. Do you have any bad hair days? How do you do it at home anyhow? Do you dress up for school? Do you get your school clothes on? Do you put shoes on? Do you comb your hair? You really should. It'll make a difference in your grade. You should dress up with if your mom lets you anyhow. You should dress up with good clothes. You should comb your hair, wash your face, brush your teeth, just like if you would come to school. Dress properly. Oh, someone's trying to get a hold of me. Let's see here. We're just going to stop this thing here. We don't need to listen to that one. And if I can get the noise shut off. Yeah, it's important that you pretend like you're in school, even though you're not. You really do need to dress up. Today we're at lesson 14, and I am going to teach you about percentiles. Now, this lesson here, I wish you were here in class so I could see if you're getting it. So sit up in your chair, sit straight, tune your ears, and follow closely. On the first page, on 58, you should read that. And if you have not read page 58 and over onto page 59, stop the video and read that first. Now, don't read it as fast as you can read it. Read it carefully so that you can understand it. Okay, now that half of you have stopped the video and read the page, now you're back, and now you're ready for the first part. On the first page, I want you to look at the 4 steps for computing percentiles. Let me tell you just in simple words how this is. When I write your grade at the top of the page, I give you the percentage that you had correct, okay? And when I ask you, how many did you miss today? Then you say, I missed 3. That means you gave me the raw score. When you said 3, that was a number of wrong. And you might find this interesting. When I give you the percentile, I don't give you the percentage of wrong. I give you the percentage of right. Did you know that? You tell me the number wrong, and I tell you the percent of right. How you like that? I should tell you the percent wrong. No, that's not the way we do it. We're not used to that. So say, for instance, if you would make a 95%, then I would tell you, you said, I missed 5. And so I said, you made a 95. We're assuming we had 100 problems, just make it easy. And you give me the raw score of 5, and then I tell you the percentage of 95. What if it would be if I would tell you 5%? You would say, oh no, 5%. Well, you told me the number wrong, you didn't tell me the number right, and I give you the percent for the number right. Ain't that confusing? That's life for you. People get their things all mixed up. Well, that's kind of how percentage is. Percentile, sorry, I said it wrong. Percentile is something we're not familiar with. If you get a percentile of something and you make a 50%, you're just, okay, no, not in a percentile. That means you made average. 50% means that you were in the middle. Now, if you make a 75% percentile, I'm using the wrong term again. A 75 percentile means that 3/4, you were in the top bracket. You was 3/4. It compares, percentile compares your grade with everybody else. Okay? And so it's really for like statistics, for large numbers. Now you could use it in the 8th grade. If you have 14 students, it would kind of tell you, did you do as good as everybody else or did you do poorer than everybody else? Because this is the way percentile works. The very best person gets 100 and the very least person gets a 0. Okay? So you see, It doesn't tell you, even if the least person, the person that made the poorest grade, even if he makes an 80%, in the percentile, he's going to be 0. If he's the bottom, he's going to make 0 if everybody else did better than him. So that's the reason percentiles can vary hugely from your percentage. Okay? Percentage is just comparing your wrong with the ones you got right. Percentiles compare you with everybody else. And so you could have 50 problems wrong of 100. You could make a 50%, but if everybody made lower than you, guess what? You would have 100 percentile. If everybody makes lower than you, you're the top one. Now, we're all working to be top, but if you do the best you can, that's all that's required. Look at the bottom. Oh no, let me start here. There are 4 steps to do this. There are 4 things you have to do to figure your percentile. So I put them on the board on my own words. You look on page 58, right in the middle of the page, it says here are 4 steps for computing percentiles. That means figuring percentiles. So if you start, number 1 is put them in order. Okay? Start with your percentiles, however many problems you missed. Put them in order. So if you're figuring how many you had wrong, you put them, if everybody, you put them in order. I always want to start with the smallest and go to the biggest. You can do biggest to smallest, but don't do that, okay? That's too confusing. Start from the smallest one and go bigger. Smallest to largest, put them in order. The next is count how many you got. Okay, if I would be putting your 8th grade in order and say so-and-so missed 1, so-and-so missed 3, so-and-so missed 5, so-and-so made 100, and then 0, I would put them in order, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however, whatever it is. Count how many. So if I did the 8th grade, it would be 14. Count the total of numbers I have, or figures. You could be doing inches of rain, you could do lots of things. It's used for statistics, is where we use percentile. And now, count all the ones that are less, okay? So if I have a whole row of numbers here, I'm not going to put any numbers, and I am this one right here, I'm just going to show you, these will all be numbers. You can barely see that, can you? But let's say that I'm going to count this guy right here. This is my number, okay? That's the score I made. Now I need to count 1, 2, 3, 4. I will count mine and count everything that's smaller. So you have to put them in the small to large order. And so say for instance, somebody like you comes up here and gets that one. And this first one up here that's not marked, that's my wife, okay? If she's in this game, she's up here. She's going to get first. But you guys come right next. So you'll be here. You'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's you guys. It's 6 numbers that go down. Now the total was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The total was 7. And now you find that percentile. You can divide 7 into 6. Or you can let it in a fraction. No, I would rather you divide 7 into 6. 7 into 6 to find a percentile is going to be 7 going to 6. I don't know. You use your calculator. It's too hard for me to figure. And that was number 4. Oh, I forgot to tell you number 4. Count all that are less. So we were counting all that less, and then number 4 is find what percent. Number 2 is a number 3. So number 2 is the total number. You will always put the total number on the bottom. Here I did. Here I wrote it up there. Total number on the bottom, that's your number 2. Count the total, that goes on the bottom. Total number of statistics that you're figuring. And then count all that are less. All that are less, including yours. Okay? Including the number that you want to be. And put that on top, and then divide the bottom one into the top one, and you'll come up with a 0.65 or something like that. And so you don't necessarily, you just make it 65. Okay, you don't put the decimal there. You don't. I don't know if that's right here. I shouldn't have done that because I never figured. You was figuring it's higher than that. I can tell you that. But remember this way, if you have the highest number of this here, like for my wife, okay, you get this for my wife, she'd have been 7 over 7, that's 100. She'd have been 7. She'd have had 100, and then you'd have been right next to her. Maybe yours percentile would have been 90. Yeah. Sometimes your percentiles could be very close to your percentages, but sometimes it can be far different number. So when you see a certain percentile, don't panic and say, oh, they failed the test. No, that doesn't say that. So, yeah, let me see here. I think we'll go over to the next page and I'll help you with the beginning part there. We have a list of scores on top of page 293. I'm not doing the first one yet, okay? Don't go to the first one yet. But I am looking at the example. And you have a list of scores, and it starts out with 89, 84, 92, 90, 83, goes all the way along, all the way. Okay, let's start out with the smallest one. So let's put them in order. And 81 is the first one. If you have two 81s, put them right together, and they count just the same. And if you got 82, and the next one, then you got two 83s, and you're putting them in order. Just keep adding them. Anytime you have two, put them right together. So you come all the way over there, and you get to the end. There was 3 of them that made 99. You just put 99, 99, 99. All 3 of them. Now, there are 20 scores altogether. I counted them, and the book counted them. So you have 20. So if you want to figure the percentages of any of these guys, you have 20 is going to be the total number. See here on the bottom? So we're going to start with 20. So every time you will always put 20. If you're figuring this problem, always go 20. Let's say, for instance, we're going to choose 83. That's my score. I made 83. What's my percentile? Okay, you will start at 83. Remember step 3? Count all that are less, including your number. Okay, are you ready? You count those for me. 83. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you come up with 5? Or did you just come up with 3? No, you see that including the one you are ranking. I'm ranking 83, so I have to count both of my 83s. I have to go all the way up to 84 and count everything that's below that. Okay, so watch out. That's a tricky one. You have to include the one you're counting, and if there's 2 of them, which there happens to be 2 83s, I have to count both of them. So I have 5 over 20. Oh, I think I can do that in math. Well, maybe I can't. Use your calculator. What is my percentile? I've got 20, and I put 5 inside here, and so my percentile is going to be 0, 0. It's going to go in there 2 times, and that's 40, and that's 10, 100, 5. My percentile is 25. Now, there would have been a decimal right here, but you can just eliminate that. And don't put a percentage. You're not figuring the percentage, your percentile. I made a 25 percentile. So that tells me that 3/4 of you were better than I was if I made an 83. That's of these 20 figures. I wish I could see your face. I wonder if you're bored. I wonder if you're looking out the window. I wonder if I need to do more explaining or less explaining. Maybe you haven't even been paying any attention. And if it would be, I'd call your name right now. But I can't see your face. That's the unhandy thing about teaching. You can see me, I can't see you. Maybe you would like that too, I don't know. Are you ready? Let's do number 1. And we're going to use the chart on the bottom of page 58. So let's go back to the bottom of page 58 and familiarize yourself with this chart. There were 200 students. I don't know what for school this was, or maybe this wasn't a school. Maybe this was people at church. I don't know, but there was 200 of them. And let me tell you, percentiles are used a lot when you get into big numbers. That's kind of why we're not familiar with using it here in our school. We are small numbers. Now you will do it depending on achievement tests and like that. You will do percentiles to rank you with other grades in other schools and even among your own classmates to give you a rank. So let's familiar ourselves with that. There were 200 people and there were, it looks like, what were there? There were 30 questions on the test. And so we'll see how many. It's a raw score is on 30 questions. And they figured on the number of questions they got right. Correct answers. Okay, so look at that very first person. He only got 5 of the 30 questions right. Woo! He should have studied a little more, not. Well, I know that wasn't you guys. The next one got 7 of them right. That first guy, he was goofy. Well, maybe the second one was goofy a little bit too. The next one, he got 8. Well, 2 of them got 8 right. So of 30 questions, they got 8 right. So I'm assuming this must have been a 10th grade algebra test, and they gave it to first graders, or I don't know what happened. No, there was some 10th graders, so they must have gave the same test to all of them, because look over here, way at the end, now go way at the end of the scale. How many of them got all 30 problems correct? 2. How many of them missed one problem? Come on. How many 29s? 2. How many of them got 28 correct? 2. Wow. How many got 27 of them correct? 2. How many of them got 19 of them correct? Whoa. Count that up once. 10. There's 10 in a row. So you got one whole row of 19. It's right there in the middle by the line. You got another whole row of 19. So 20 of them, 21, 22 of the 200 got 19 of them correct. I just missed 11. I could ask you more, but I'm just trying to get you familiar with how this raw score works. Now we're going to figure some percentiles. We want to go, oh yeah, I need to point out to you specifically that the number, each column is 10 problems. So count the columns. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. To the middle of the mark, there's 100 of them. On the other side of the mark, go to the other side, you count. There's 10 rows again. 10 times 10, there's 100. So it's going to be easy to count. Please don't go down through there and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, to try to figure out how many were below. So we have our total number of 200. Maybe I better erase this. And we're ready to do problem 1. Since you're familiar with the chart, you have 200. Okay, the first question says, the raw scored 20 and give me the percentile rank. Okay, you'll find 20. And now let me give you a hint. You remember, include the one you're ranking. So we can't start counting at 19. We have to start counting at 20. So I want you to take your finger and follow along, and right where 20 stops and it starts 21, put your finger right there on the 21. Okay? So if you did that, there should have been 4 numbers, 4 20s above your finger. Is that right? Okay, just hang on to those 4, don't count them, but count the rows back to nothing, or back to the end. So I got row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows. Is that right? I think so. 13 rows times 10 is 130. And now I come back, and how many did I have above in the last? 4. So that means I had 130 plus 4 is, 134. Okay, 134. That marker's not done. Now, this is not in the percentile. You would need to find this into 100. Let me tell you a little trick here. If this would be 100, you could write down the percentile. It's always based on 100. But instead of doing all the work, cut this thing, reduce it in half. So make this 100 and cut this one in half. Divide 2 into this one. It'd be 2 6s is 12. And I got 1, 14, 67. So it's 67 over 100. And you know that if you divide 100 into 67, you come up with 67. So my percentile is 67 if I made 20 wrong. Okay, number 2, the raw score of 14. Okay, are you with me yet? You turn back over to the first page and you find 14. One starts out first column, second column, third column. Yeah, third column. Now go to the end of 14, right on the 15. You see that? Put your finger there. How many 14s do you have above your finger? Come on, tell me. Oh, you guys, you must be sleeping this morning. 1, 2, yeah, 2 numbers. Okay, how many columns do I have behind that are smaller? So I've got 1 column, 2 column, 3 columns. 3 times 10 is 30, plus 2, 32. Gotcha. Whoa, here, I still got this other column on the board. Well, it is 32, and I had 200. Okay, my total is 232. Now reduce this down again. You could divide 200 into 32 if you want to. I don't give a care. You'll get the same answer, but I like to go and reduce it to 100 and cut 200 in half, so I divide 2 and I come up with 16. 16 over 100. And if you take that down, that means the second answer is 16 is a percentile. That guy didn't write very good, I'll tell you. He'd better study those tests a little better. And we got one more, the raw score of 26. Okay, you got this first answer at 67 and 16. You should be able to do 26. Okay? I will get you started, but then you will have to finish. The raw score of 26. So I got to go find 26. Matter of fact is, I got to find the end of 26 and then count everything behind there. So the end of 26 is on the last row, and I come down 2. So I've got all the rows before me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How many rows are there? There should be 19. 19 is 190 plus 2. You got it. And you put that one over 200 and then divide it to find your rankage. I think I'm going to stop with that. I'll let you put the others in order down the bottom. Again, may I stress these rules. It's extremely important to put them in order from the smallest to the biggest. And the reason I want you to do smallest to the biggest, you could put biggest to the smallest, but the smallest to the biggest, then you always count back behind you. If you put biggest to the front, you'd have to count forward. Don't do that, okay? It's too confusing. It could get the same answer, but it's too confusing. Until you really understand percentiles, don't put them in the reverse order. Always put smallest to largest. Count the total, okay? When you put them in order, then you'll count the total. I won't tell you the total. You count. That's pretty simple though. And then count all that are less, including the one. So then wherever you want to find the percentage, you count that one and then count all of them behind that. And remember, if there's 2 or 3 or 4 of the same number, you have to count all of them. And then you also have to turn into, this in here is put this bottom, the total on the bottom, and total on the bottom, all the others on top, and find the percentage. Yeah, have fun. If you have any problems, be sure to give me a call. A few of you have been calling me on number 24 of yesterday's lesson. If you're stuck on 24 of yesterday's lesson, don't call me. I'll just tell you the answer. If I saw they had a star on it, I'd have told you to skip it. But the answer is 180 for 24 on yesterday's lesson. Maybe you want a few more answers on yesterday's lesson. Let me see if I can't give you just a couple more. Let's check this page right here on page 54. We remember. Can you see that, or is that blurry? Okay, let's try 55. Yeah, get you a few there. I think I got the whole page on the screen. Does that help you? And if it's blurry and you can't check it, don't worry about it. Have a good day. Sorry the class took so long.